Hello, friends, and welcome back to Diary of an Impulse Buyer, where I spend my money so that you don't have to. I bought a lot of Nekoyanin makeup a couple months ago, and now the novelty has worn off, so I can finally tell you what was worth it and which purchases I regret. This is going to be a two-part video because I bought a lot of Nekoyanin makeup, so let's get right into it. Okay, so first up we have her jelly lipsticks in the shades Luna, Aurora, and Stella. Now, before I get into the reviewing of the actual product, I do want to note that the little keychain charm for the Aurora lipstick just totally fell off, and because it's screwed in, I wasn't able to screw it back on, so now there's just a little hole at the top. Not a total deal breaker, but it was a little disappointing for me that it wasn't attached super well. Okay, when I got Luna, I wanted it to be a very goth purple, but I actually found it to be much more sheer. It's a lot sheerer than the other two colors. Maybe that makes it more wearable, but for me, I was a little disappointed. To get this to go on as purple as I wanted, I have to swipe back and forth a lot, and even then, it's still pretty sheer. I also think it's too cool toned for my complexion. I believe I'm warm toned, so maybe that was my bad, but I wasn't a huge fan. I'll swatch Stella next. Stella is like a bright Barbie pink with little purple sparkles mixed into it. It's not sheer at all. The formula is like a creamy jelly texture. It goes on really smooth. The sparkles are not super big, which means they're not super obvious, but they definitely are there. I found that the formula from one jelly lipstick to the other is slightly different. Obviously, the colors are going to affect the formula, and I find Stella to be the driest of the three, but it's not dry, definitely not. But Aurora and Luna do go on smoother for me. I find this color to be really fun, but it's not really an everyday shade, but I have worn it out for a couple of cosplays and it worked really well for that. Overall, the jelly lipsticks were pretty good. They were pretty hydrating, even Stella wasn't dry, and gave me good coverage overall. I will say that these are jelly lipsticks and not lip tints, so they do come off pretty easy, so you'll have to reapply throughout the day for things like eating and stuff like that. I also don't recommend Luna. The next Nekoyanin product I want to review is her Catgirl Winged Eyeliner stamp. Now, I will tell you all that I've owned this for about 6 months and it has not run out of ink, and I use it pretty much every time I do makeup, so it's become an everyday staple for me. I really like to do big winged eyeliner. If I remember, I'll put up some pictures. And this really helps me do my eyeliner, and I think it's great if you're a beginner or have shaky hands. It comes with two pens, one with a left and right wing stamp, and the other is a double-sided pen, one with a felt tip eyeliner and the other with an eraser. I have never seen any eyeliner come with an eraser like this, and let me tell you guys, it is really nice. Like, this eraser is absolute magic. It can smudge things and make smoky lines on your face, so you do have to use a little more than you probably think, but it lasted me a long time and makes mistakes much easier to fix. Mine is pretty dirty, but that doesn't make it work any less good than when it was new, and then once you erase your eyeliner, you can just wipe the eraser off and it's good to go. Before I get into actually using the stamp, I do want to note that the Catgirl Winged Eyeliner stamp is pretty expensive. Usually it's going to run you about $20. However, I managed to get it on a sale, so I only paid like $6 on TikTok Shop. Now, that sale was back during fall of last year, and I've yet to see anything that big happen again, so hopefully this eyeliner stamp lasts me until the next big sale. If not, I might try to find a cheaper alternative. I do like supporting small businesses, however, as a poor college student, sometimes that's just impossible. You might also be able to, like, use another eyeliner to paint onto the eyeliner stamp and then stamp it on, but I've yet to try that because mine just hasn't run out yet. So here I have a stamp and I'm going to open it. One thing to note is that sometimes when you open it, you'll also take out the marker part along with the lid. That personally makes me feel like it's not the most well constructed, but you can totally just pop that sucker back in and move on with your day. So when I use it, after I've done my eyeshadow and whatnot, I align the inner corner of the stamp with the bottom curve of my eye and actually make a wing pretty far out from where my eye ends. You gotta press pretty hard if you want it to fully stamp, almost to where it hurts, and even then, the tip doesn't always go on, but it gives you a good baseline, so kind of think of it less as a full stamp and more like a guide or almost a stencil. Again, I like big eyeliners, so this works for me, and now I'll use the pen to draw on the rest of my eyeliner. I actually don't usually use the other pen except for the eraser. I instead like to use wedge tip eyeliners because I find them so much easier to draw your eyeliner on, but for demonstration's sake, I'll use the Nekoyanin one here. Nothing super special about the regular eyeliner stick, but it does its job. Overall, I really like this one. Okay, so when I purchased the Diamond of All Seasons palette, I actually bought the slightly damaged version, which made it $16 instead of 35. The damaged colors did make the palette very messy, but most of the pigments were still intact or at least still usable. I did get the green and purple crumbs like all over my vanity and carpet at home, but with makeup remover and water, I was able to get those stains out. But just so that you guys know, if you buy the cheaper damaged version, just be careful for those little crumbs and don't stain your clothes or anything. Now, these are just as sparkly as in her videos and pictures, which makes this palette super fun. I almost want to use the pink one as a blush because I've seen sparkly blush on Instagram, but the sparkles in it are green, which isn't my favorite. I like to use this palette for cosplays, for example, the gold for my Zoe cosplay, so I get a fair use out of it. Okay, so the next one is Muse's eyeshadow palette from the Nekoyanin and Winx Club collab. I bought this because one, I've been a fan of Winx Club for years. Two, as mentioned above, I do Zoe cosplay, and I thought that some of the colors in this would be really nice for her how it's done makeup. And number three, I saw the packaging and it was amazing. I'd never seen a winged eyeshadow palette like that before, so I really wanted it. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten to use this palette since I bought it, so these swatches are going to be my first impression. So the palette comes with three shades in both matte and sparkly versions, giving you six eyeshadows to choose from: a dark dusty purple, a burnt orangey red, and a dark blue. I will say the way this opens with the plastic hooks makes me a bit afraid that the closing mechanism will wear down over time with a lot of opening and closing. I've seen that happen to me with some of my lockets, but maybe by the time you wore it down that much, the palette would just also be empty. The matte shades are super pigmented, which is nice. The glittery ones are a little more sheer, but both will still show up very well on my tannish skin, and I'm sure if you layered the glitter on top of the matte, you'd get really good coverage. Now, as of February 2026, I have become aware of some controversy surrounding the Nekoyanin brand. I'm not going to speak on it because I haven't fully researched the details, but I do think it's important that if brand ethics matter to you, you might want to look into that before purchasing from them. I will say, when I purchased these products back in September, I was not aware of any scandal surrounding the Nekoyanin brand, but I will definitely do more research into her if I ever decide to buy from them again. But for this video, it's breakdown time. So what made me buy all this? Honestly, I think it was probably watching Nekoyanin's YouTube channel. Just watching her go through all of her products and swatch them and show them off just made me personally want them and think they were really cool. Next, how long did I think about it before I actually bought the products? I've been an on and off watcher of Neko Yanin, and so I've kind of always had her on my radar and wanted to buy her products. To me, this haul ended up being a fulfillment of a long held desire to own these products, but realistically, I probably thought about them for about 2 to 3 weeks. Next, what made me actually buy this was the sale. For one thing, the Catgirl winged eyeliner went on a sale, making it $6 instead of 20, and then everything else was 15% off, so I think that just really did me in. Fourth, how hyped was I before it arrived? Honestly, I was very hyped. I kept checking tracking updates and practically ran to the mailroom. And how do I feel now that the novelty is worn off? I'm not upset that I bought these products, but it was fairly expensive, and honestly, I don't use most of these things anymore. Now for the list of what was and wasn't worth it for me in about one sentence each, so you all can get an idea of who these products are and are not for. Stella Jelly Lipstick. Yes, but only for cosplay. Aurora Jelly Lipstick. Honestly, no. The charm broke, and it just wasn't that great. Luna Jelly Lipstick. No, too sheer for me and not my color. Catgirl Winged Eyeliner Stamp. Yes, it helps me draw my eyeliner, and I use it almost every day, but I would like to find a cheaper alternative. Diamond of All Seasons palette, yes, but only because my Zoe cosplay needs gold eyeshadow. I don't know outside of that why you'd need this product. Musa Palette. Honestly, no. I bought this mainly for the butterfly packaging, and I probably could have made a how it's done makeup look without this. Anyways, thanks for watching. As always, I'm not promoting impulse buying or saying that a shopping addiction is a good idea. I just thought that my input might help my fellow impulse buyers. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you liked what you saw. And also don't miss part 2 where I'm going to review Baneko Yanin Fruit Jam Glosses, Cupid Lip Mud, Color Changing Blush, and her viral Bloodline Lip Stains. See you next time.